Okay, Brett, we're ready.
All right, all y'all, welcome. Happy New Year. I'm super excited to be on the call with you guys tonight and kind of share with you some information that, in my opinion, is life-changing. The last 25 plus years, I've spent my life teaching and training physicians all over Canada, Europe, and the United States. My name is Dr. Brett Brimhall. Grew up in Arizona, native here. My whole life has been around the healthcare field because my dad got injured, became a chiropractor because of the injury, and for the rest of his life he spent and continues to teach and train physicians on protocols that we've developed as we've worked with people that have lost hope pretty much so many other places. So appreciate you guys being here with us tonight, and promise you that we're going to share information that's super valuable for you. When you hear some of these things, hopefully what you'll be able to do with it is to take some of these things and use them in your own life, and at the same time share them with other people that are looking for this information. Every day I get the opportunity to work with people that a lot of them have given up hope, and they don't have really good answers. I sat with a lady today, and the funniest thing I think of everybody said to me, because she's really frustrated with the medical model. She's spent some time working with just some nutritional healers and stuff, and she said, it's almost like my allopathic doctor and my the outside energy person had a baby, and that's me. I'm like, I'm not sure if that's a pretty or ugly baby. I can't decide on that. But it made me think about that we need other options, because she's been struggling for several years to get well, and I've known her I've known her since high school. But finally, she made it here to us. And some of the things that we're going to do with her to help her get well is what we're going to talk about tonight. And so I got introduced to LifeVantage and the concept of biohacking through a little boy that I was working with. He was diagnosed at 2 with autism, and I worked with him every week for a year. He was actually referred to me from a lady who lived in Iowa that I helped train. The mom that I was working with and the son, they traveled an hour each way to come see me because they were told that I might be able to help them. And so I did that every week for a year. I did everything I possibly could, from nutrition to emotional work to detox therapies to chiropractic to acupuncture to detox saunas, foot baths, lasers, everything to help this little boy gain little incremental improvements. That's what I did. And he was making small changes, but not drastic. Like, he was struggling with letters, numbers, still in diapers at 4. And I started working with him at 3. 11 days of him starting this product called Axio, which is liquid brain food, he had an over 50% improvement in his behavior and learning. And I couldn't believe that I was seeing that, because I'd worked so hard and I hadn't changed a single thing. But what I learned from that experience is that there were things that I wasn't utilizing with people that literally were turning on their body to heal and repair in a way that I didn't know was possible. And so we're going to introduce you to this concept of biohacking. I know it's kind of a weird word, but what we have out in our world is our world has been hijacked. Really, we're going to be the first generation that doesn't outlive our parents. And we're seeing that all the time. My mom, she's the youngest of 10 kids. Her mom lived to 97. Her dad lived to 93. She passed away in her early 60s from cancer, and she never smoked or never drank. Passed from a cancer that typically only smokers get. Her siblings, of all 10 siblings, none of them have lived past their early 80s. What that means is the environment they're surrounded with had literally hijacked their body's ability to repair and to live as long as they could. And so we're going to talk about what happens and what you can do about it. This concept is called biohacking, because we're going to learn how to hack into or tap into the body's ability to heal and repair. At the same time, we're going to realize how we can do that. The process or the science is called nutrigenomics. And we know people invited you to this call tonight because they care about you, and some they invited you because of what you're going to learn about the science that might be able to help you and your family. And others that you're going to hear that maybe invited this call because there is a business tied to this. The business is not for everybody. In my opinion, the products are. What everybody does want, from my experience, is they want to feel better than they currently do, most people, and they want to get more out of life than they currently are getting. And we are where we are based upon what we've currently been taught, what we believe is possible, and the tools we're utilizing. So my whole life has been trying to help people get more out of life, physically and emotionally. When I saw that little boy come out of his shell, and now watching where he's now in a regular school, they don't know his diagnosis, to where he got straight A's the last 2 semesters, and realizing only a couple years ago, 4 years ago, he was struggling to remember letters and numbers. Like, struggling. We tried to teach him 1 week and he wouldn't remember from week to week, to now where he is just, he feel like he's smarter than his brother. who's always been a straight A student. So when you guys learn this stuff tonight, you're going to hear about products that are going to change people's life. And I'm going to kind of interject, and some of you guys are going to hear a couple different stories tonight of what is possible. But I want you to know that the way medicine is right now is changing drastically because we're fed up with the answer we've been given. Because with chronic disease, which is mostly what we end up seeing anymore, there are not good answers for that under the current model, treating disease. So this nutrigenomics or personalized healthcare is going to allow us to tap into the body's ability to heal and repair and affect major systems where we're able to repair in ways we never thought were possible. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by watching a ABC investigative report video. Now, this was aired back in 2005, where we started to understand that, hey, what we do and the combination of how in which we do it can actually affect how the body heals and repairs. So when you watch this video, I think two things in mind. One, if this is really real, who might this affect? And number two, who needs to know this? And if there was a business type to it, how would it look to share it with other people? And we'll come back, kind of fill in the rest of the story and share some stories of what we've seen in real people's lives. Here we go.
The following is an ABC primetime investigative report that aired in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life.
It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can we speak? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
It's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Whether that will lead to longer life is still unknown. Experiments to see if mice live longer are about to get underway, but it's a tantalizing theory.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down. And so you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
Back to the oxidative stress levels of a child? It sounds too good to be true. Will Protandim work on me?
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result, my level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression. But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
Okay, all right. So hopefully what you heard from that is that this is something brand new. And I remember watching that video the first time and thinking, holy smokes, like if that's really real, where we literally can turn back the clock where your body's repairing that if you were like at the newborn, what might that look like and who might that affect? And so like, I want to have a couple people I'm going to introduce you to a couple people. I want to come and share their story real quick. So when I saw that video and I started, watching what happened with this little boy, I actually called one of my first patients I called up, and it was coming in because her daughter had she had a daughter with autism, and well, if it works with this little boy, what might it do for her daughter? And so I actually was working with Ilene, and Ilene, I'd love for them to kind of hear a little bit of your story, what you've seen, and like what these products mean, because I know you and I, like, we've worked together for a long time, 15 plus years now. She pretty much raised me. And like she's done everything that she possibly could. And I think she over 40 different therapies to try to get more quality of life. And she's at the point where really functioning for 2.5 hours a day was good. And she was okay with that until we started doing some of these things. And I want you to hear her story, because not only has it made a drastic difference, but she's been so consistent with doing it, is why our body where it is, because what we do every day does matter, but the more consistent we are, the longer we are doing it, the better results we get. So I'd love them to kind of hear your story, Ilene, about just your journey on that and what you've seen in your own personal health, and Nicole's.
Well, thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Ilene. And I, like Brett was saying, I worked with Brett for over 15 years, but my story really starts 21 years ago that I was a young mother. I had my third child, and 6 weeks after she was born, I went blind for the first time. And that started this roller coaster of health. And through the years, I tried multiple things to try to get better. I tried natural and I tried medical, and I just didn't find solutions. What we were doing was taking a lot of supplements, and I was treating every symptom that I had, which were quite a few symptoms. And they weren't giving me higher quality of life, but they were trying to sustain me. And actually 15 years into the disease, they finally found a medication that stopped the progression of the disease. And that was what caused me to not have more deterioration. But then I had the side effects, which I was laying on the couch, and I would see Dr. Brimhall 1 to 3 times a week. And I was one task Ilene is what I called myself, because I'd get up and do a task and then I'd have to lay down and rest for a long period of time. When this product came into our lives, like Dr. Brimhall was saying, that my daughter with autism, he shared it with her, and then in 3 days, her school teacher is emailing me why she had changed her behaviors and why she's interacting with the classroom. And this is at age 17 years old. And so we already knew what we were doing with her and her systems, but this was something that was different. And we had no idea the heights that this would take. And it's gone so far that now she's 21, we're 4 years later, and she's actually attending college, which we thought would never be on her plate because of the autism and the restrictions that those symptoms gave her in producing herself in real life situations. And for me, I actually had put my dreams in the corner, and I was just going to live out my life the best I could because that's what I thought was only possible. And I never could have imagined that I would be where I am today and living the kind of life I'm living today. I'm living vertical, I'm traveling, I'm not seeing Dr. Brett 3 times a week, although I love Dr. Brett. But it's an amazing adventure, and I actually have hope, and I'm excited for the future, where just 4 years ago, it was just, how am I going to get through this, and how do I not get worse so I don't end up in a nursing home? So the way this has done in my body has been completely unique, and so excited that it's possible for anybody with a body.
I love that, Ilene. I love the fact of just what we've seen happen, and part of your journey has been my journey, and that, and watching what your body responded to. So we're not saying that this can cure, treat, or prevent, but what we do know is that the human body ages with time through this process of what's called oxidative stress. And if we could reverse that process by allowing the body to heal and repair faster, what might happen? And so knowing Ilene and where she's at now compared to where she was 4 years ago and her daughter, that same process is going on in every single one of us, whether we want it to or not, based upon the environmental pollutants and stuff we're dealing with. So my question is, what are you doing about it? What are you currently doing about it with the onslaught of stuff that's going on inside your body right now that you don't even know how it's affecting you and what you need to control it? We'll kind of touch base with Jessica on her story too. But let me fill in a couple of gaps here. So why are we having this conversation about this groundbreaking technology and product through a Zoom like this? Why is this all across the news and everything else? Well, especially when it aired on ABC, but it aired one time, and the people that ran the company at that time could only produce a small amount of product, and they had $5 million orders that came in, and most of those orders went unfulfilled because they didn't have the infrastructure in place nor the sales team to capture all those leads. And so the company almost went under because they couldn't fulfill all those orders. So they tried to do what they could. They sold it online and in stores like GNC and Rite Aid. But universities around the world saw that ABC spot, and they wanted to study Protandim with specific conditions and things. And so what they found is some of the research we're going to touch base on. But here's what did happen. The company from 2005 to 2009 was a publicly traded company, went retail sales and internet sales, very little sales being done, under 10 million. It switched distribution methods in 2009, and from 2009 to present, it's over a $200 million company. So the company should have grown great during those times when the economy was great between 2005 and 2009. The economy tanked, right? We all know. Yet this company grew drastically in that time frame because of what I found out in the research. So what we have is the process of oxidative stress. That's aging, right? So aging can happen fast or slow to a car or a human based upon the stress that's put on it. And as you see the picture on the left, that happens to apples when you cut them in half, they just start decaying. Well, same with humans. As soon as they are alive, they start decaying, right? The rate which that happens and where it happens depends on the stress level. Then in our body, on that right side, you'll see it happens in every organ, every gland, every system. It happens in the heart. We call it hypertension or myocardial infarcts. I just met with a lady today, guys. She's 30 years old. She has high blood pressure. Her mom had her first stroke at 40. So talk about genetic predisposition, and knowing what we know now, we can share this with her where she can do things to actually start changing the odds of that. Her grandma was like 50 when she had a stroke. So isn't that interesting? Grandma was 50, mom was 40. Where's daughter going to be? So we have the potential of turning this around, knowing what we know now. And if this sounds too good to be true, well, it probably is, because here we are talking to each other through a computer screen in multiple states, right? But yet we're doing it. We may not understand how it works, but we're doing it. And so here's what we're talking about. The studies that were looked at, they looked at oxidative stress. These are studies from around the world. LSU did one on skin cancer, American Heart Association, 26-page study published there. That's in a national journal for cardiologists. Like, that just doesn't happen on a natural product. Multiple studies, over 23 published studies now that you can look up on this website. It's called PubMed.gov, where you look at the research. And down the left side, you'll see universities and you'll see drug companies that are also finding out if this is a real protein that we can activate, we want to patent it, because we can make a drug to do that. Right? Because if we can make a drug to that, there's big profits there. Think if you had the key drug that helped you age slower. Like, and you could patent that. And every mammal is going to age. Well, that's what this protein does. Okay. So what it's called is called NRF2. And the difference is, like, in our body, we know we're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables. Okay. And when we do that, it neutralizes one bad guy. So vitamin C, right? We know when we get sick, we don't want to get sick. Grandma said take vitamin C, so we do that. But what if we could literally turn on the body's production of antioxidants versus just take them? Right, so what if you could actually activate your child's income versus supplementing it? Right? Who wants to supplement their child's income forever? Nobody, right? But wouldn't you like to activate your income where it generates revenue without you? So the process of what we used to call direct antioxidants to nurture activation, we're going to activate the body's ability to turn on these switches to reduce inflammation at a rate of 1 million free radicals per second that it can neutralize. That's a big, 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 big deal. So Jessica, I know that as a physical therapist, the doctor, like, you deal with people all the time, and everybody heals differently, right?
Absolutely.
And do people, and you think of people like Ilene, like, do they typically get better, or they just typically digress over time?
Typically, they are digressing. Yeah.
So I'd love for them to hear your show. I met Jessica through Ilene. Ilene was seeing somebody that Jessica knew doing aquatic therapy, aqua stretch. Jessica is phenomenal at that. She's a phenomenal physical therapist. And she was treating Ilene when she was back basically in a wheelchair, and now working with her when she's not. I'd love for you to kind of share that story, but also, like, what finally got you to look at why the product, did you start using the products, and what have you seen personally in your personal life with it?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Man, what a great story. I was introduced to Ilene in 2010 when I first learned about aqua stretch, where the trainer was teaching me about that technique. Ilene was in a wheelchair. Fast forward 7 years later, she was referred to me again by that same man, but I was living in Phoenix now, so it was just an easier opportunity for her to come see me. So when she came in, she was literally now walking. And last time I had seen her, she was in a wheelchair. So it took me about 3 or 4 weeks to figure out that this actually was the same person that I had seen 7 years prior. After I figured that out, then she started telling me about this product. It wasn't until, I took her word for it. She sees the best of the best. I know she sees the best doctors. She had flown, to see some of to see the aqua stretch man in Las Vegas. So I knew that she was finding the best with Dr. Brimhall. So I took her word for, yeah, she's finding the best supplements, and yeah, that works for her. It wasn't until I personally needed the experience of healing, which was started last year. I started having an injury in my hand, and basically became very debilitating because I work with my hands in the water, as some of you know here on the phone. And many of you know I was training other people to take over for me as well, because I couldn't literally close my hand for about 6 to 8 months. I was doing everything I knew: physical therapy, acupuncture. My sister, who's a massage therapist, would massage me for an hour on my hand only. We did the whole 9 yards, you guys. And between that circumstance and another circumstance about my daughter, which I'll share, I think, a little bit later, you know, I started taking the product, and in 17 days, I finally was able to close my hand after 8 months of not being able to, and I was able to continue to work. And so I was just so excited. Now all the pieces of the puzzle started coming together. I started doing the research, and then started realizing how important this product was to not only take for myself, but also have available for my children, and also to share with others. So that's where we have it.
And I love that story, because that's most of us. Like, until we have a pain great enough, right, we're not really searching, even though you'd seen such an amazing change in Ilene, right? And I love that you saw her too in 2010, and then you see her again years later, like, wow, like you didn't even recognize the person, right? So, and Ilene was on lots of different supplements. So to see this difference is amazing. So why is this so different? How is it different? That's what we're going to kind of chat about here, as long as my computer lets me. So, right, so here's one of the key studies, because what we're talking about is a protein in the cell. When you activate it, does a certain thing. So what it controls, you'll see up here, this switch, it regulates detoxification, your production of antioxidants, controlling inflammation, and protecting your cells. Sounds like a big deal, and it is. So much so that Washington State said, after studying the science of Nerf2, said it may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. That blows my mind when I think about that. When I read that, I'm like, okay, number one, extraordinary is a cool word, but they say it twice. And they're talking about it both be for therapeutically, which means for treatment, and also prevention, right? That just doesn't happen. And they're talking about a way that you can do it. So drug companies are like, how do we activate this protein, and what might that do? So one of the studies that kind of show the difference between natural versus a synthetic form of Nerf2 activator, there's a drug called BG12 or Tecfidera. This drug took $1 billion to bring to market. It had a profit of over $4 billion last year, right? And it's used specifically for treating MS. So this was published in the MS journal. And what happened at the time, there was really only one other studied Nerf2 product on the market, and its name was Protandim. So an all-natural, plant-based, 5-herb ingredient product, did a head-to-head study with Tecfidera, the drug that took $1 billion to bring to market. Now, the research was funded by Biogen, which is the company that made the drug. And the end result was that bold. This is what the drug company's own researchers said and published in the MS Journal. Interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer, and therefore maybe most suited to their therapeutic strategy. Like, I can't imagine how painful that was for that drug company to write, right? And that drug, guys, it works. It reduces relapse rates, which a relapse in MS can mean you can lose your vision or ability to walk. So that's a big deal. And it was worth the side effects, right, Ilene?
Oh, yes.
You know, because you knew you could function as you are, but it wasn't living life vertically. Whereas activation of Nerf2, a natural substance, Protandim, outperformed it. And you can see what happened. And Ilene also listened to Jessica in her hand. So here's what it does, right? Protandim activates this protein called NRF2. What it does, it reduces oxidative stress 40% in 30 days. So simply, it helps speed up that healing cycle, or roughly 40%. It does that by activating the protein and turning on survival genes in your body to help heal and repair. It's literally like doing it. So it's like telling your kids to go clean their room, and they actually do it, right? The first time. And all you have to do is take a pill, right? How nice would that be, right? So these things down here at the bottom, these are certifications that show what's in it, and it's advanced substance control, which means that this is a product that's safe for athletes and professional athletes to take. And then the NIH here, this is the study with a 10-year study. So they hint to a study on that video saying that there's studies trying to see if it'll extend the lifespan of mammals. Well, that study was completed in 2015, 10 years, right, after that first video aired. And what they found was they extend lifespan by the average of 7%, which would equal roughly 5 human years. And that was quality of life living, okay? So what happened with this science, it opened up this concept, hey, you know what? If the body has the ability to repair, and we can activate it, and there's one of these proteins called NRF2, and we activate it, we get the cells repairing faster by getting rid of the bad guys. Are there any other genes like we can influence that are big, important things? So for instance, we have these cool little phone things right now, right? That's a technology. But we have how many different types of apps on here that allow us to do different things? We have the Amazon app that we can shop with, right? We have our Google Maps app that we can find out where we're going on, right? Or we have like Netflix or whatever else you have on that you can watch your media with. But the technology, without the technology, you can't have that. And then the app. So think about this. You have an app, right? Or an ability to hack into your body's ability to repair. You also have another one called the mitochondria. These are the energy producers. So you have the ability to hack into or biohack your body's ability to make energy. Because what happens when your body doesn't make energy, things like this on the right hand happen. Epilepsy, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, muscular dystrophy, autism, Huntington's. When I look at that, I look at the things that we hear about all the time that people are diagnosed with and there's no hope for. Amen. And that's what you hear. So anything, but what that means is a lot of times it just means it's we don't know what's wrong. We just know the body can't make enough energy to repair itself fast enough. Right? So what if we had the ability to turn on a switch through a particular, natural substances that allow that mitochondria to perform better that you have and actually make new one? That's nerve one. And when that happens, the mitochondria function, but that means you heal faster, your body can perform better, so you're sleeping better and you're having more energy, and it protects your gene material, right? Which allows you to have better longevity. So this company, I've been part of a couple different companies, none of them network marketed up until now. All these, when we study stuff and then we produce products, over 200 of them. None of them are based on technology. They're based on reading, research, and clinical experience, and then combining in products. With this, it's all technology based. We're not guessing about what we're doing, right? So it's mammal specific, right? So the products, we're going to kind of run through a couple because they're important to know about, and then I want to kind of share some stories about them. But the one of them is physique. This is it's a probiotic, right? I literally talked to a lady today. She's like, I know I need a probiotic. I don't know which one. If you go to the store, are they all the same? No, they're not all the same price, right? Why is this one different? Because it's technology. It's designed a little pearl, so it's a time release, so it gets it's basically 12 times more effective because you're getting over 60% of the product to your intestinal tract versus only 4. And it's also combined with an ingredient called Well-Immune, and what that is, a lot of people have autoimmune conditions or they have a lot of allergies. This helps normalize that because the gut doesn't work right, neither does the brain, neither do your sinuses or immune system, neither do your joints or really anything, because you're not getting all your nutrients that you should. I love that product and what it's for. Omegas. If you have a brain and if you have eyes and you have hormones, you need omegas because those all feed those. My son yesterday, he was like, Dad, what's these little things here I'm taking for the fish oils? And I was explaining to him about that everybody needs omega fatty acids. And if they're not getting it, their body can't make hormones. They can't make new eyeballs. They can't control the inflammatory cascade in their body without those. And to date, I've yet seen anybody come in with normal omega levels that aren't supplementing with an omega yet. And I've done hundreds of blood work, thousands at this point. All right. So why this one then? If you can go to the store and get an omega, why would you do this one? Sustainability. Right. This one here, we know where it's caught. We can trace the bottle back to the boat. Right, it combined vitamin D with it, which everybody needs because, again, all deficient, I've never seen anybody not be deficient unless they're taking it. And also has omega-7 in it, which helps with weight control. Right, so if you aren't taking it, you need to take it. And I want a fish oil that I have to use up every month because I don't want to eat old sushi and I don't want old omega. Right, because you need that stuff fresh going in your body. Okay, so what you'll see in here are some products that we utilize called the Vitality Stack, a True Science with a nerve activation for skin, and that little pack on that right-hand side, that's the Vitality Stack. So it's a combination of those 4 things. The way I describe this to people is just like this. This right here, this is your repair guy, okay? This right here, this is your energy. This helps your hormones and your brain, and this is your gut and immune system. So the question that I would ask each of us is, which one makes the most sense for you? Does it make sense to help your cells repair faster? Does it make sense to help your cells make better energy? Does it make sense to help your brain and your hormones, or does it make sense to help your gut and immune system? Which one makes most sense, or which one do you not want to have? So for me and all my family, we have 4 kids. We all take the Vitality Stack every day. From a convenience standpoint, it's easy because all I have to do is take one. Right? Give them to all my kids and I'm done. All right? I love, love, love how simple that is. I want to show you a couple pictures. This is True Science. This is the skincare. It was born out of the LSU study where it helped reduce melanomas. And so that the Skin Foundation says you need to put this in a topical version. I know with even healing time, I know I ask people when they have injuries to put that right on injuries as well. There is a hair care with nerve 2 activation, and Ilene, I really love your story here on Nicole. Right? I've known Nicole forever, and you guys should meet her. She's just an amazing individual, just awesome. But what have you seen? Like, we've been doing this nerve 2 activation biohacking with her body now for 4 years. You've seen phenomenal changes where neither one of us thought she'd ever be in college, for that matter, right? But what have you seen with her hair by just activating with nerve 2?
So Nicole's hair was midway down her back, and it was just tangly all the time. I mean, brushing it was a royal challenge, and you could never put your fingers through it. And and I had bought some really great shampoo. I mean, it said quinoa, gluten-free, soy-free. Oh my gosh, I just bought the best shampoo I thought I could to keep toxins away from my family, because after being sick, I just wanted to eliminate every toxin I possibly could. So this product came out in October. She used it one time, and oh my gosh, she has curls in her hair. And after multiple times of using it, you can put your fingers now through her hair any time of day, and it's not tangly. And I did never realize that all that tangles was dry hair, and it's just really moisturized and looks beautiful, and the color has improved a lot. And so we went to a spa where they had us shampoo our hair after, and she shampooed her hair, and just one time of using whatever shampoo they had, I couldn't comb through her hair again.
Wow.
And I was so shocked. So anyway, she came home and she re-showered and used this shampoo, and it just made all the difference in the world. It's just exciting.
I love that. And that's why you see some pictures down the left-hand side where you're actually seeing those type of changes. So again, when I first saw this, I was like, well, that's kind of nice. But literally the stories I'm hearing and what I'm seeing happen in people, it gives us an option where we can literally help change and biohack our hair, which a lot of people are super concerned about that. So it's a super awesome option. This is a picture, guys, of the Axial, that liquid brain food we were talking on. And this is actually my nephew's handwriting. So his handwriting on the left, a week after he started nerve 2 and Axial, there's his handwriting on the right. So this was when he was 9, and he was struggling in school, always struggled with anxiety, just struggled in every aspect you can imagine. One of those kids that just last to finish things all the time. And to where he went from that to one of the first kids in the class to finish assignments and to be able to go and do what he wants to do and way less anxious. And I'd worked on him since he was born, right? Severe asthma and allergies. And to look and see where he is now is drastically different. And I know, Jessica, I'd love for you to kind of share your story on your daughter, because really, even though your hand was killing you, that didn't have you start the product. It was really your daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and it's not unusual that a parent will do something for a child that we won't do for ourselves. But and I know you guys were going through some major stress at that time, but tell us a little about your daughter, what you saw happen with the nerve 2, and then maybe why you've chosen to share this with your clients and friends.
Mm-hmm. So at the time that Ilene was sharing this with me and my hand was about ready to fall off, my daughter was also struggling differently, in the sense of oxidative stress in her head. We had moved from our little small town in Lake Havasu to big town Phoenix, and we had completed 1 year of school, and her grades started to deteriorate a little bit. We went through a family change, and we needed to move again, and she started to struggle even more. She was in 4th grade, and her teachers were telling me, maybe we need to have her tested for ADD. She's not able to maintain focus. And I just knew, just 2 years ago, she didn't struggle like this. And I just knew that there was something I could do to help her. So in counseling, they suggested, maybe an alternative natural form of caffeine that would, combat the effect of ADD. If she was really, truly had ADD, that this would work in reverse. So they suggested any kind of natural form of of caffeine. I found some green tea at Sprouts. I'd opted for a pill of 500 milligrams. So I was giving that to her in the morning and in the afternoon, which helped. Actually, it really helped her throughout the day, but in the evening she was still crashing, still having a lot of nightmares, a lot of anxiety, difficulty going to the bathroom by herself, just because of fear. So anyways, these things were still going on. So I was sharing with Ilene, my client in the pool, and I was telling her about how I had started this green tea. And she said, you know, there's green tea in the Protandem I'm talking about. And I said, oh, that's right. Could you share with me about that again? So that's really honestly, she said, well, you could try, you know, this with that and see how it goes. And I was open at that point because I knew I was looking for a solution for my daughter. I started her on that along with the Axio, which is this brain drink. And literally, you guys, within a week, she was different. By the time she was really taking it consistently, her grades had changed from C's, D's, and F's to honor roll. So we've noticed a dramatic difference with this. It could have been traumatic had we not found it. So yeah, I thank Ilene for being consistent and continuously sharing it with me until I was finally open to hear about it. So yeah, that's the story.
I love that because it really is sometimes the pain of our kids, right? They get things, but like you were already having pain, but you weren't looking for you, but you were for her. And so I know there's a lot of kids out there that are struggling. I literally, and your story, I love, Jessica, because I literally talked to a grandma yesterday. Their grandchild is seeing things and scared like you were seeing your daughter was how that way. And it made me think about your daughter, what she's been through. So there are people out there struggling that we know, and we're looking for ways to help share it with them. Now, I know, Jessica, you've been doing this now for a little while with us, and you're sharing this with people because of the results you've seen. I know you've also chosen to do the business as well. And I'd love to kind of let people hear a little bit about why that is, because it's not a fun feeling to wonder, like, what would I do for practice if I couldn't practice? I had a similar thing happening with my knee where when I first exposed to this, I ended up breaking my knee when I was hobbling on a broken knee. I know you're literally training other people to take over your job because of the injury you had, and thank goodness you can still work. But why have you chosen to not only share this product with people because it's what they need, but also you chosen to kind of share that from the business perspective as well?
Well, I think I chose it initially because I knew how important it was going to be for myself and my two kids to be on this. And I knew that there was an opportunity that it could pay for itself. And so I know that that was my first driving force. Once I got involved and started, I attended one of the first meetings here in Phoenix, and I met Dr. Brimhall and some of the others. And I realized what a fantastic opportunity it was. And I knew I was going to be sharing it because of my own personal experience. And they say to get into it if you're only going to share it. And that seemed like it was me. So it was just kind of a no-brainer. I was going to share it. I know people that need it. I know that I need it. I know my kids need it. So, and I know how important it is. So I'm not going to stop sharing it.
And I love that too, because it just, and I've thought about this over the years, like we all share stuff with our passion or, that we want, and I know people come to me as clients and I never paid them for it. Right. But I knew it cost some money to come. Right. And here's something that you knew you wanted your kids to have it, and how nice it is. There's also a built-in system where you can actually help pay for your product. It's a nice thing to have both as options. And then you can turn it into something different if you really want that too. So there's a physique weight management line too, specifically designed to help address how your body loses fat and keeping it off. There's fat burn, a cleanse, and a probiotic that goes along with that. Again, tied to nutrigenomics, activating your body's ability to repair system. You see it's individuals transition after 90 days because it's literally turning those switches back on. There's also nurture activation for animals, and it actually blows my mind how many people, what people will do with their animals, don't do with themselves. But if you want to go on YouTube, you can find some super cool stories where you'll see the difference in animals and how it affects them. So my little dog every day gets her pet tandem. So I want to touch base on the business side of this a little bit as well, because here's what I don't know. And I don't know if the business for everybody, but what I've learned is everybody makes money somewhere, and it's just a matter of what makes the most sense to you. And so if you're really wanting the product, I love the fact that if you want the product, get the product. It's the same price for distributor or customer. But what I do love is the fact that I can show this to people gradually if we want to. I can eventually, make enough money to get my product covered, which is great for any moms. Ilene, that was kind of where you started a little bit. Like, you want to make sure you stay on the product long term, and you bought a lot of products from me over the years. And here's something where you're making less products you ever have before, but also you're making enough money through this by sharing with other people and helping them, that allows you to get basically your product for free and make money on top to do some of the traveling and stuff that you want to do, let alone how much money you saved on medical expenses and not needing other physicians over the last 4 years.
Exactly.
Right? So it can go either way. And I just want you guys to know what the timing of this is, because in business it's about timing, real estate's about location. But right now, this may be the first time you're hearing about this. I want you to think about it this way. We're talking about products that nobody else has, that really everybody needs. It has research that nobody else can have. What I mean by that is, I've been in the nutritional field for 25 plus years. To have one study, much less 23, and have drug companies trying to make products outperform yours, like, I've never seen that happen. And I don't know if it ever will happen. It just happened very uniquely because of the ABC Investigative Report, the timing. But literally what we have our hands on right now, from a business perspective and ability to share that, we have the groundbreaking, most extraordinary therapeutic preventive breakthrough products in the history of medicine, tied to a business opportunity where basically we share it, we get to help people with the product, and if it's so much to the business, they can do that too. This is really like a baby Apple. Like, we know what Apple is going to do, but nobody else does, and we get to share it with people, and then we get to tell other people and help them be successful at it too. But just to give you an idea, there's 80,000 distributors worldwide. We know the first 135,000 distributors per country in network marketing usually participate in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And what that really means is no one knows about this yet. Then really, how many people will? So we're in this early phase where people don't know about it yet. Just so you know, publicly traded company, I like that. You can see what real people make. It's set up based on rank, distributor through Pro 10. A Pro 1 is somebody that basically has $1,000 in volume going to their group, not just their personal order, but their group. And that's an extra $100 a month. Imagine if you can make an extra $100 a month. Like, how would that look? How would that feel? A Pro 3, an average Pro 3, that's 5,000 volume going to your group. That's roughly an extra $600 extra a month. So think about that. That's over $7,000 a year. When's the last time you got a pay increase in your day job, working 40 hours plus a week, to get a $6,000, almost a $7,000 raise? As a teacher, Ilene, how much was your raise every year? If you
maybe $100.
Okay. And you had to put more hours in and not get paid for it. So that's what's unique about this, is you can put as much time into it as you want or as little as you want. And what is the work? The work is you're sharing information about both the product and the business and see what makes sense for people, and then having conversation on what makes sense. Then we get to go to work together. So I know Ilene and Jessica, you guys are both Pro 4. So average Pro 4 makes $1,200 extra a month. Like, so imagine, Jessica, like what that means now, especially considering like with your hand hurt, like that can make all the difference in the world, right? When you can have this money coming in residually based on work you've done in the past to offset some of those bills. How big a deal is that?
Huge.
Giant. Like, and all of us would love to have that. And we hope that we call that retirement, right? But then we don't get to use it to retire. So an average Pro 7, that's where you show what's called an elite bonus plus. Show you what that means. That's $11,000 a month. A Pro 9, over $40,000 a month. A Pro 10, over $100,000 a month. So some of those numbers may be hard to fathom, but it's possible. There's real people making this money, and it's because they've got behind something before anybody else knew what it was. So here's what we get to talk about. The products. We're talking about multiple industries. We're talking about the hair care, pet care, energy drink, skin care, health and wellness, weight loss. What makes sense to you? So for me and my family, every single day, we take the Vitality Stack, which is a combination of the Nerf 2, the Nerf 1, the ProBio, and the fish oil. I know Ilene and Jessica, you guys do the same thing, correct?
That is correct.
And then on top of that, me and all my kids do at least one Axio a day, right? Because I know full well that I want to perform at my best today and always, and that gives me that edge to do so. So for me, that's what I take every single day. Now, by the way, is that less supplement than I used to take, Ilene? Because I know you used to take it.
That is a boatload less supplements and exponentially different results.
Yeah, it's a bummer too, because I don't make as much money on you anymore. It's horrible.
All right.
But what I love, guys, the results she's had doing less has been more.
Yeah.
And how often does that happen? How often do you get more results from less? Well, isn't that what we're doing with technology and everything too? We're getting more from less, okay? So you can get the products. You can get with whoever invited you to call, get those products that come straight to you. I love that, super easy. But if you're like, hey, you know what about this business? How does that look? You can become a distributor to share the information by getting one of these packs. The gold, silver, platinum. The difference in the price point just is the amount of product that you get. So if you want a lot of product, which that's what I would recommend, you can literally start a worldwide business for $1,250. Guys, I paid over $500,000 for my practice, let alone my education and everything else. And it's been awesome. It's been great for me and my family. But that was a lot less than $1,250 one time, right? So then the question is, how do you make money? I love this business model in this effect. So Ilene and Jessica, are you paying me to help with this call?
No.
So you can have a mentor, somebody that's been doing this a while, help you grow your business, and you don't pay them?
Yes.
That's kind of a good gig, right?
It's awesome.
It's almost like being a teacher. You work and don't get paid. It's Ilene, the teacher. But this business model is set up to where the more successful I help the students become, or those people that work with me, the more successful I become. How awesome is that, right? And so you work by helping people get started, helping them find some customers and distributors, and the more you do that over time, the more money you make. We're talking about residual money, which is this. Any one of us that has a phone bill or a car bill or a house bill, that's a residual bill. It shows up in the month, every single month, whether we want it or not. You all paid for your phone, okay, probably a certain amount, but then you have to pay monthly to use it. So you buy the Platinum Pack one time, and then you get to make money the rest of your life with it as long as you share the information, right? The better you get at it, the more successful you are, the more you success other people. So you're helping them make money and help impact lives. So I think I would never would have known you, Jessica, had Ilene not saw what she saw and eventually shared it with you and the people that you've taught to and watched what's happened in their lives. And that's what we get to do every single day, is changing those lives. But we get paid every time somebody takes a product and they continue to stay on it. So Ilene's been on the product for 4 years. So every month I made a little money on that. But talk about life-changing results she's had.
Yeah.
So over the last 4 years, though, I spent time building a business where now I'm in the rank of Pro 7. So I now share in the global sales of the company every single month. And that's what every single person, no matter when you start, I started 4 years, the company's been around for over 9 now. So no matter when you start, when you hit that rank, you share in the sales since the beginning. And I think that's a phenomenal gift. So that's a quick overview. And here's where I want to kind of just kind of summarize this a little bit. Get with the person that invited you. Just let them know where you're at. What I've learned about the product, the effect of it is cumulative over time. The longer you're on it, the more benefit you're going to have. The same thing is true with business or school or anything else. The longer you do it, the more you work at it, the better it's going to get. And what a gift it is to watch and hear stories like yours, Jessica, and your daughters, and Ilene, and so many other people. Not only that, but the people you get to meet along the way, like your sisters on the call, we got a chance to meet and get to know them, right? So we get to have that opportunity to affect life along the way. So guys, appreciate you being on the call. Ilene, Jessica, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm excited. There is one quote that I like to end with is, when you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. And when you don't have your health, you have one. Your health is so tied to where you can go and what you can do. And this has freed me to be able to have those 1,000 dreams again.
That's powerful. Jessica, anything else you want to say? Anything, anybody's on here?
Just thank you so much for coming and hearing about it. I look forward to speaking with all of you about it and answering any questions. I think it's a great opportunity for all of you that I invited. So,
all right, all y'all. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great, great night.